We are at a critical point in Israel's war in Gaza. If Hamas accepts the US president's plan, what do you think the next day in the region will look like? And do you believe there is a real chance of an Israeli withdrawal from the Strip?
Unfortunately, I'm very skeptical. I wish I could be more hopeful, really. Because first of all, Gaza deserves some hope. And also Israel, obviously. Everything is so vague. Who is going to replace Hamas in Gaza? Who is going to take over? I can't see Israel pulling out from the entire Gaza Strip. And I'm very afraid that soon after it, we'll see the war, I don't call it war, the attack of Israel getting back. Let's hope that I'm wrong, but this is not a serious plan because it doesn't get into the details. It's, you know, it's good for press conferences, but on the ground it is so much more complicated and it doesn't get to it. I don't also see, in many ways, it's bringing back colonialism to the area. Tony Blair will run Gaza. I mean, where are we? The year is 2025 and we are bringing back the Brits to run Gaza. Why Tony Blair? What does he know about Gaza? Those are all colonialistic terms. It cannot lead to a good place.
In your Democracy Award acceptance speech, you said that it will take decades for the Palestinians and their children to forget, if ever, what they endured these 2 years. So,
how else can it be? I mean, I'm not sure that most of us know the range of the trauma that those people went through. I'm not sure that we can imagine ourselves. What does it mean to lose everything, to lose your children, to lose your property, to lose your dignity, to live for 2 years in horrible conditions, inhuman conditions, 40,000 children without parents, and 60,000 children handicapped. I mean, it's a horrible trauma. You don't just finish it and go back to life. This will be a big cloud which will accompany the Palestinians for many years now. And accept this, they will also tell their children and their grandchildren who did it to them. It didn't come from sky, from heaven. It's not a force majeure. There is an army who did it to them. And the army is called the IDF, the Israel Defense Forces. They will not forget it, and rightly so.
And what does this mean for Israel?
Israel will not be the same Israel. First of all, it's already a pariah state. And you don't recover from this so quickly unless you go really to courageous steps. If Israel will change its way, it can easily come back because the world will hug Israel if it will really change its policy. But I don't see it happening. And then Israel will be a pariah state with all the meanings, worse than Russia.
But still with strong supporters. Not really a state in the corner.
First of all, the question is if the American support will continue forever. Don't forget that it's now based only on one person, Donald Trump. If Donald Trump will be replaced, Israel might find itself totally lonely. Donald Trump by himself is unexpected and unstable. He can tomorrow, when he will see that Israel is failing or Israel does not serve his interest, he can throw Israel to the ground like nothing. I mean, this man has no sentiments except of power and money. So we are in a really fragile situation.
Having reported on the Palestinian territories for decades as well, do you believe that this is now also a critical point for the Palestinians in the West Bank? What's going on there?
The West Bank is really the big thing that nobody pays attention to. It's very good you raise it. Because unfortunately I cannot go to Gaza in the last 18 years because of Israeli government. But I go to the West Bank every week for decades and I don't recognize it. Under the cover of the war, all the attention is on the war in Gaza, and meanwhile Israel is doing horrible things in the West Bank with a joint venture, I would say, with collaboration between the violent settlers and the army. The settlers are doing pogroms on a daily basis. When we sit now, I can assure you, somewhere in the West Bank, there are settlers who are stealing sheep, who are burning cars, who are burning homes of Palestinians. I mean, it became a horrible place, the West Bank. So this will be the next challenge, sure.
You dedicated the Democracy Award to Gaza's journalists, hundreds of whom have been killed by the Israeli forces. Why was that important for you?
There was nothing more important for me. I really did it from the bottom of my heart. I admire those journalists for their courage, for their integrity, and for their sacrifice. First of all, as you rightly say, over 200 were killed, more than in any war in history. Can you believe it? I'm deeply honored by this prize, really deeply honored, very grateful. But the real heroes are the journalists of Gaza. So the minimum I could do was to dedicate it to them, sure, from the bottom of my heart.
You also said you avoided to use the term genocide up until recently.
Absolutely, yeah.
What changed your mind?
Israel changed my mind. The Israeli policy changed my mind. Until a certain stage, I didn't see a plan, and I didn't see an intention to commit a genocide. Until Israel itself declared that there is a plan, namely to push all the people of Gaza toward the south, then put them in cages, and then give them the one of two options: either you stay in this concentration camp or you leave Gaza forever. And then I realized this is part of a plan. And then also the mass killing. Listen, if every day, almost 100 people, every day, there was not one single day without targeted killing at people who were standing in the line for getting food. This looks like genocide, it behaves like genocide, it kills like genocide, and it is genocide.
You also spoke of Israeli society living under a heavy cloud. What has created that during the years? It's not now only the Hamas attack.
No, but everything was intensified in those 2 years. So first was the trauma of the 7th of October, which was a real trauma for Israeli society, and everyone was mourning the losses. The hostages became a huge story in Israel. And, understandable. There are Israelis who are in horrible conditions, and Israel cannot do or does not want enough to do whatever it's needed to release them. So this by itself. But in the recent months, you see that Israelis start to understand that Israel is not going to remain the same place, that the world is finally, too late in my view, but finally ready to take measures against Israel, that those crimes in Gaza will be responded by actions, not only by condemnations, that every Israeli will have to pay some kind of price. And they see when they travel abroad. Thousands are coming to Greece, and then they feel uncomfortable in certain places. Rightly so, because we are all responsible and accountable for what's happening in Gaza.
How can a society saved by the Holocaust can endure what's happening today? They don't draw any comparisons.
So first of all, to be honest, Israel is also many times using the Holocaust for its own purposes, for its own propaganda, mainly to show that the whole world is against us, was against us, and still is against us, that the whole world is anti-Semitic, was anti-Semitic.
But it has been against Jews.
Sure, but this does not mean that today we are in the same place. And the Holocaust should be remembered. But listen, I'm a son of Holocaust survivors. Nobody will tell me what to do with the heritage of the Holocaust. But Israel could take it to one of two ways, one of two directions. One direction is never again to no one, to anyone in history, in humanity, or never again to the Jews. And unfortunately, Israel took it to this direction, to this nationalistic, racist direction, never again to the Jews. Which means that we have the right to do whatever we want, only to prevent that it will never again happen to Jews. And this, in my view, is a very sick approach, because we should say never again, not only to us, to anyone. The Jewish community many times pays the price of Israel's policy. We are committing a genocide in Gaza, and Jewish communities face anti-Semitism as a reaction. So they pay the price. We put them, we risk them, we endanger Jewish communities. Instead of being the safest place for Jews and the place which takes care of Jews all over the world, we risk them. Because we know that there is anti-Semitism, but now we give fuel to anti-Semitism.
The global movement of solidarity with Palestine is often accused by Israel and allies of anti-Semitism. How do we draw the line between anti-Semitism and legitimate criticism?
That's a very good question, and we should ask it and we should answer it. There is anti-Semitism, and there are many anti-Semites who use now this opportunity to come out of the closet because everyone is pro-Palestinian, everyone is against Israel. But still, I want to draw the line because it's very important. Most of the critics of Israel are people of conscience. Anti-Semitism means to hate the Jews no matter what. And most of the critics of Israel are today people of conscience, not all of them. We have to be careful and to separate the anti-Semites, but those accusations of Israel should not stop the mouth of the critics, because you have to answer, I am not an anti-Semite, but it's enough to be a person of conscience in order to raise the voice against the genocide, because what you do there is unacceptable.
Has Israel's strategy in Gaza ultimately strengthened its security?
I guess you know the answer by yourself.
But I want to hear it from you.
Sure. It's very clear. Israel is today in its worst position ever. Ever. Israel was never so weak like it is now, depending not only on one state, on one person, Donald Trump. We depend right now only on him. If Donald Trump will turn his back toward us, we are really lost. We gave up, we sacrificed all the allies. We made all our friends into enemies, and we had many friends in Europe and in the United States and elsewhere. We turned them into critics and many times even enemies and haters. We were really in the most fragile situation. Power of a state is not only its military power, it is its political power, its moral profile, it is its international support, not only by money and weapons, but also by popular support. And look where we stand now. People are walking the streets and don't dare to speak Hebrew because they're afraid. We really, within 2 years, we got to the worst moment in our history.